Good afternoon, Professor. Me, Javier Aliaga, and my classmate Bárbara Ramírez are going to talk about King Lear. Characters. The main characters of this tale are Lear, who is the ancient king of Britain, his three daughters, Cordelia, the youngest one, Regan and Goneril, the oldest ones, and then we have the Earl of Gloucester and his two sons, Edgar and Edmund the Bastard. Plot. Lear, the ancient king of Britain, decides to step down from the throne and divide his kingdom evenly among his three daughters. First, however, he puts his daughters through a test, asking each to tell him how much she loves him. Goneril and Regan, Lear's older daughters, give their father flattering answers, but Cordelia, Lear's youngest and favorite daughter, remains silent, saying that she has no words to describe how much she loves her father. Lear flies into a rage and disowns Cordelia. The King of France, who has courted Cordelia, says that he still wants to marry her, even without her land, and she accompanies him to France, without her father's blessing. Lear quickly learns that he made a bad decision. Goneril and Regan swiftly begin to undermine the little authority that Lear still holds. Unable to believe that his beloved daughters are betraying him, Lear slowly goes insane. He flees his daughters' houses to wander on a heath during a great thunderstorm, accompanied by his fool and by Kent, a loyal nobleman in disguise.
Meanwhile, an elderly nobleman named Gloucester also experiencing family problems. His illegitimate son, Edmund, tricks him into believing that his legitimate son, Edgar, is trying to kill him. Fleeing the manhunt that his father has set for him, Edgar disguises himself as a crazy beggar and calls himself Poor Tom, like Lear. He heads out onto the heath. When the loyal Gloucester realizes that Lear's daughters have turned against their father, he decides to help Lear in spite of the danger. Regan and her husband, Cornwall, discover him helping Lear, accuse him of treason, blind him, and turn him out to wander the countryside. He ends up being led by his disguised son, Edgar, toward the city of Dover, where Lear has also been brought. In Dover, a French army lands as part of an invasion led by Cordelia. In an effort to save her father, Edmund apparently becomes romantically entangled with both Regan and Goneril, whose husband, Albany, is increasingly sympathetic to Lear's cause. Goneril and Edmund conspire to kill Albany. The despairing Gloucester tries to commit suicide, but Edgar saves him by pulling the strange trick of leading him off an imaginary cliff. Meanwhile, the English troops reach Dover, and the English, led by Edmund, defeat the Cordelia-led French. Lear and Cordelia are captured. In the climactic scene, Edgar duels with and kills Edmund. We learned of the death of Gloucester. Goneril poisons Regan out of jealousy over Edmund and then kills herself when her treachery is revealed to Albany. Edmund's betrayal of Cordelia leads to her needless execution in prison, and Lear finally dies out of grief at Cordelia's passing. Albany, Edgar, and the elderly Kent are left to take care of the country under a cloud of sorrow and regret. Setting: King Lear is set in the court of an aging British monarch. Shakespeare probably wrote it around 1604, sandwiched between two other tragedies, Othello and Macbeth.
Historical context and sociocultural background. Okay, first we have the role of the monarch, and this is an important point considering the setting in which this tale was developed, because a monarch controlled everything and the king had absolute control under his all loyal subjects. And this point is related to the second one about hierarchy. This was something absolutely common in these decades because the royal family had more faculties. And also another clear example of hierarchy was the case of Edmund in the tale, the son of Earl of Gloucester, which was called the bastard for being an illegitimate son. Then we have literary devices. The first one is an hyperbole, and it says, "Sir, I love you more than words can wild the matter." And it's an hyperbole because an exaggeration is being used. Then we have two hyperbaton. The first one says, "Edgar, I nothing am." And the second one says, "As flies to wanton boys are we to the gods." Both of these are hyperbaton because the order of the words are changed. And the third one is personification, and it says, "I'm sure my love's more ponderous than my tongue." And it's personification because love can't be ponderous because it is not something concrete. Themes. Those are the four main themes of this tale. Family is crucial because all the tragedy involves the family and the fact that not all his daughters love him the same. Also because he realized at the end that he took bad decisions during the first parts of the tale because he did not consider what was more important in a family. And I'm referring to Cordelia's punishment. Then we have power. As Lear was the king of Britain, he has all the power in his hands. However, when he was betrayed by his daughters, he lost all the power.
Reconciliation. We can see this when Cordelia and her father improved the relationship since the king had been angry with her at the beginning of the history. Loyalty. Some of the characters were loyal to the king to the end, including his youngest daughter Cordelia. Relevant biographical references of the author. William Shakespeare was born in 1564 at Stratford-upon-Avon. He was an English poet, playwright, and actor. Shakespeare is considered the most important writer in the English language with a universally known words: Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Othello. William sought to transmit through his characters different emotions, such as love, jealousy, uncertainty, where fate plays an important role, being this unfavorable and leading its protagonist to an unhappy ending. Actions speak louder than words. This phrase is worldwide known. It reflects the plot of history, because the words of the daughters did not have much value for the king, since the actions revealed something contrary.